Hello, my name is Poe. I am the official mascot of the Deadites on Deck Horror Shop. Come, take my claw. Oops, mind the slime. Let me show you around the horror shop. What's that? I don't like horror? Well, let me show you some of the cool stuff we have over here.
Hi, I am Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel. Don't forget to watch Evil Dead Chick on Deadites on Deck on YouTube. Oh, and subscribe, man.
I wanna be a positive renegade, making changes for the better, throwing out old rules and creating a new landscape that can be shared. Be kind, be honest, be courageous. I wanna be a leader, don't be afraid. A voice whispers inside, you have the power to change the wrong. Bring vision the past, build the future. Plant positive in your garden and watch it grow. I wanna be a positive renegade, making changes for the better, throwing out old rules and creating a new landscape that can be shared.
Howdy, gang, and welcome to yet another My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade. This is Chapter 4, Don't Play the Blame Game, and we're going to get to that here in just a little bit. Hey, Stacy, you say hello and thanks. Being positive is a daily journey. I enjoy the challenge and welcome others to join the light. And that is an excellent statement, Stacy, to express on this episode of My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade. And, I hope that even if we're not able to have a lot of people join me and all of us that are in here for this episode of My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade, I hope that you're able to watch this on the replay. And I hope that people also see some good out of these things, because it's so easy to, and I just want to put this out there because I think this applies to everybody at some points in times. Hey, kids. So many times people see somebody trying to do something positive, and that's what I'm trying to do. They see somebody doing something positive, and based on how they feel about that person, they get angry when they see somebody doing something like this. But my intention by doing these is not meant to hurt anybody. It's not meant to make anybody angry, because like I say, I always put myself in the guilty party for all of these, and this will be no different than any of the others, because I played the blame game, folks. And, we're going to get to that here in just a little bit. I would probably have to wait on that, Stacy, your question about favorite movies where people accept their journey and don't blame. But I like the ones that you mentioned, Peaceful Warriors and Hoosiers. Yeah. Stacey, you say, if not, there are errors on the play. It needs to be able to be said. We are all accountable at all times. I agree totally. You say, I've been attacked a lot before, and many have, but go towards the light. Yes. And hopefully, throughout this series of episodes, however many that I have them scheduled out. I have titles for several chapters of this. So I will go on with these as long as I can come up with topics to talk about. Hey, Hope. Stacey, you said when the bullies are around, I will let you know. I've tried to go and make sure these rooms are all safer and more supportive for all. Being positive is a daily choice and journey, and I relate to you. Thank you, Stacey. I appreciate that. And one of the and I don't care if anybody helps me to monitor my streams and videos that I do. Um, but what something that I have discovered, and I say that over and over again, is the best way to punish a bully or get to a bully or get to a troll, if you want to call them trolls, is to ignore them. If and I've had them come in here and I've had them say things, and sometimes I do get distracted by what they're saying, but I try to move past that, get back to what I'm talking about, and just ignore them because that is all somebody like that deserves, is to be ignored. And that's not being mean, that's not being nasty. But if somebody's sole purpose is to come to anyone's stream and try to cause problems, that's what they deserve to have happen. Stacey, you said the positives. You have recommended so many movies over the years to me. Well, thank you, Stacey. I appreciate that. So before we get into this episode of My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade, I just want to remind everybody of the programming that I've got up on the channel and some that is actually going to be coming up. Now, I meant to tell you guys this at the very beginning. I have not been feeling well as of late, and people closest to me know that I'm dealing with some stressful situations, which is not only affecting me up here, but it's affecting my physical health as well. I'm not going to get into it. The people that are really close to me that I talk to on a regular basis, they know what's going on with me, but I don't want to bog down a stream talking about these things. So if this one seems a little shorter, or if at some points in times I seem a little weary or off my game a little bit, that is why. So this one may be a little bit shorter than some of the other Positive Renegade chapters. And for that, I apologize in advance, but I just wanted to let you guys know. Thank you, Kits. You say, oh, yeah, I don't even mess with the boys. You do a great job on your stuff. I appreciate that, Kits. Yeah, I hope it passes soon, too, Kits. Thank you for saying that. And toxic negativity, yeah, that's that's part of what's causing my issues right now. It's a toxic environment. It's not really to do with YouTube or anything, or my relationship with my husband or my family or anything. It's outside of that. But yes, a toxic environment is just very detrimental to both your physical and your mental health. But I appreciate all the support, guys and gals, on that. But I just put up a Evil Dead Chicks top 10 don't horror films that I did. Was it last night? Yeah, I think it was last night. I can't even keep track of things. So if you haven't checked that out and you're interested in checking it out, I know several people like my top 10s that I do. I also have a Evil Dead Chick Slasher Fest for New Year's Evil. I have My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade, Chapter 3. Forgiveness is key. There's a celluloid trash for the video Dead, an Attack of the Beast Creatures. The first Horror Mania episode where I talk about horror movies from 1896 to 1899. There's a very delayed insomnia cure for 1982 to 1983, and a very delayed They're All Messed Up, talking about Mary, Mary, Bloody Mary, and Strip Nude for Your Killer, and all the kills in both of those. Because, yeah, that's what we talk about on They're All Messed Up. Coming up, other than this stream that I'm doing right now, hopefully tomorrow night I will be able to do Celluloid Trash for Beyond the Seventh Door and Black Devil Doll from Hell. Another Horror Mania episode covering horror films from 1900 to 1905. All these should be at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Wednesday should be another Insomnia Cure covering the years 1984 to 1985. And then Thursday will be another They're All Messed Up, talking about the Psychic Killer and Psycho from Texas. And then on Saturday of this coming week will be a Misery Watch Long. This will be starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I also have, me and Steve have a We Watch Movies episode 8. We should have another one put together here shortly for you guys and gals. I have a Pick Your Poison taste test for Stranger Things Gatorade Upside Down Citrus Cooler. And I also have a final thoughts on Stranger Things since the series was finalized here not very long ago. Hey, Tasteful, you say Jacko Willink's book, Extreme Ownership, has good words on the topic. I'll have to check that out. Thank you, Tasteful. I appreciate that. So without further ado, let's get to this edition of My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade, Chapter 4, Don't Play the Blame Game. And guys, I think we all have been guilty of this, including me. Like I say, I always put myself into this. Oh, Tom, I'm sorry to hear that you've been stressed too. But I'm glad to see you in here, though. I'm glad to see all of you guys and gals in here tonight. So like I was saying, I have certainly been guilty of playing the blame game many times in my life, not just on YouTube, but in other areas of my life, whether it's a job, whether it's in relationships, whether it's with my family, and social media, But again, I think social media makes it easier for a lot of us to slip in to these patterns. And playing the blame game is one of those patterns. And I want to help, if you've never, fell into that pattern or fell into that trap, I'm hoping that this and other chapters in this series will help you avoid falling into that trap ever. If you fell into it, even if you fell into it multiple times, which again, I have, don't feel bad, folks. Definitely don't feel bad. Because I know the majority of the people are not doing this to be malicious. It just becomes a pattern. And it's hard to dig yourself out of it sometimes. It's hard to dig yourself out of a lot of these things. That is right, kids. We are all only humans, and it happens. And that is right. That is absolutely 100% correct. But hopefully my experiences with these different traps will help you guys, either stay out of them altogether or prevent you from sliding back into it. So what do I mean by don't play the blame game? Don't play the blame game. Can't even talk tonight. Apologies. So, for instance, let's just hypothetical, you know, someone does uh, a video, you know, it doesn't matter who it is, but somebody does a video, and it doesn't matter if they put it on YouTube or they put it on Facebook or they put it wherever they put it, right? Whatever social media outlet they put it on, and you see it and you're convinced that it's all about you. For whatever reason, you think it's about you, right? So you get all up in arms and you get angry and you decide, well, I'll show them. I will make a video that's 10 times worse and I'll make it all about them without even knowing if this video was about you or if it was all about you or whatever it was. Okay. Okay. So that's what I mean. You're placing blame where you're not really sure if this person was doing a video about you or not, right? And you're not even sure what instances they were talking about. A lot of times when people do this, they haven't even watched the video. They just hear about the video through the grapevine. Did you know so-and-so did a video? You know, unless it's blatant, you don't know if that person did this video about you or you and your buddies or you and other YouTubers. You have no clue unless you go to that person and you say, hey, you know, and hopefully that other person will be honest with you, right? Hey, Gory Tiger. Kid, she said, absolutely, it's always good to share. It's how we help each other. That is exactly right. Kid, she's saying, unless they call me out directly, I never assume. Yes, right. That is correct. So that is one of the instances where I say, don't play the blame game. Because see what happens if you think somebody does a video about you, but you're not sure, you just assume. And you know what happens when you assume things, right, folks? You've heard it over and over again. What happens is you're putting the blame on another person without knowing the full truth. And you go and you create this horrendous video about them and using things that you shouldn't be using, you know, and I'm not going to go into details, but you know, you do things that you know down deep in your soul that you should not be putting out there because it's just not right. And you say, well, I had a right to do this because this person did this. That's playing the blame game, folks. You are blaming somebody for you doing a horrendous video about them just based on an assumption. You can't do that, folks. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't, right? Here's another, for instance. You get angry because you heard through the grapevine that so-and-so did something. You can't prove it. Again, it's an assumption. And they did something to, supposedly, they did something to mutual friends of yours, right? Again, you act and react to things that is hearsay. And you continually blame that other person for all these things that you're doing. You say, if you hadn't done this, when you just heard it through the grapevine and it was hearsay, you say, okay, you did XYZ, so now I'm going to do this. That's not fair, folks. That is not fair. And I've done it, and a lot of other people have done it. And again, I include myself in this. I do not make myself innocent in any of this stuff. But all that does, folks, all that does is create more friction, more drama, more of everything that does not even need to be created. And then more and more people jump on the bandwagon, whether they're on person A side or person B, or persons B and C, or B, C, D, and E side, right? It creates a division between everybody, and soon everybody's fighting and sniping at each other and taking sides, and it's just uncalled for. That's another way that you play the blame game. Well, you did this. Okay, you don't know if somebody did something on purpose. You just have your mind made up that somebody did something or did not do something. Taceful, you said there is a gender disparity on this issue. Women focus more on people and men focus more on things. This is true for violence as well. Women's version of violence is reputation attack, and men fight. That's an interesting way to look at that, Tasteful. And I can see those things. Yes, men and women think very differently. So I'm a woman. I identify as a woman. I am a woman. But someone that is either a man or identifies as male is going to see things differently. And I'm glad that Tasteful brought that up, because I'm not going to go into detail, but my recent issues have been me and men. And since Tasteful brought that up, then I will talk about this a little bit. My experience has been that not that people physically beat me up, but it was me and guys primarily in my instance. But men play a lot rougher than women do, as far as I'm talking about, as far as words and stuff. My experience has been, I might talk a lot of stuff under my breath, but I tend to not go out in public and blast somebody. And I've noticed that men tend more towards just the pot boils over and the game is on. And I know women can say hurtful things too, because I've caught my own self saying hurtful things. But when you make a man pissed off, like the gloves are off, like I said earlier, the gloves are completely off. Yes, I think you're right. Women are more sneaky about it, or can be. And yes, men and women do definitely think differently. And I think in my case, it was a little bit of people thought that their reputation was going to get messed up, but I don't think that was a big part of it. But me, on the other hand, I did feel that my reputation was being ruined as not only as a human being, but as a YouTuber. And I still think that I'm suffering somewhat from that. I was going, I'm not a super, super popular YouTuber, You bring up Deadites on Deck or Evil Dead Chick or anything like that, and most people are not even going to know who I am. I would never try to pretend to be somebody that I wasn't. But I was getting an audience, and I still got an audience, and I'm proud of the audience that I have. Tommy, you say at this point you're only interested in small channels, and that's cool. I think a lot of people do that, Tom, and I think that's part of trying to keep, as my friend Candace says, keep your circle small. And she always tells me she keeps her circle of friends small, because in the past when she's expanded it, it's ended badly because she's allowed people into her life that cause some issues for her. And that's just all I'll say about it. So I understand that, Tom, and I would hate to become very big and you not watch my stuff anymore. Uh, Kids, you say I had that happen too. I worked with a crew of women who were best friends, and we did a project together. And they did a bunch of shady things to ruin my rep. I had to rebuild and prove myself again. Oh yes, I'm talking about men some, but women are just as bad. They can be just as bad and devious and all of that. And let me tell you, folks, things have happened to me not just here recently, but even years and years ago, that I became very angry. And your first instinct as a human being, I don't care who you are, is when you feel like you've been wrong, is to not necessarily get revenge, but get back at that person or person somehow. That's just a human instinct. Um, but that's just like two examples of playing the blame game. People, you need to make sure that you know what you're talking about before you go and act on something. And even if you find out that something somebody said or did was true, um, still try to understand where they were coming from, folks. Maybe they were hurting, and right or wrong, what they did. I'm not saying that in all cases the person did what they were accused of. I'm just saying if it turns out that they did, think about the situation around it. In my case, I was blamed for something that I did not do, or I did not do on purpose. But the more that I tried to push to tell people that I didn't do something on purpose, the worse it got for me. So in some cases, you just got to let stuff go and let it run its course and not try to prove your innocence to anybody. Because in my case, repeatedly trying to prove my innocence made things 10,000 times worse. Sometimes it's better just to be quiet and take a break from that. Tights, when you say your best advocate to push back against false info is usually someone else and not yourself. Yes, because I've been told, Tasteful, in the past by friends that the more you try to prove your innocence to somebody that's already decided that you've done something nefarious, that you've done something wrong, is it makes you look more guilty. And so, yes, I would agree with that. Tom, women can be just as superficial as men, vice versa, or vice versa. You are correct. Or men. Yes. Have you ever seen women in a fight? Let me tell you, I seen plenty of guy fights when I was in high school and plenty of women fights. And sometimes the women fights were a lot more vicious than the men fights, folks. You know, clawing and pulling hair. And I even had a friend that this girl picked a fight with her. And my friend was a skinny girl. I mean, she looked like she, wasn't 100 pounds soaking wet, right? But she took this girl who was twice as big as she was and rubbed her face up and down on a brick wall. Messed up that girl's face pretty good for a while. So yes, I, I definitely agree with that. And sometimes, folks, it's even better just to just keep on doing your thing, but to not talk about the situation with these people in a public or private arena. Don't try to reach back out to people that are angry with you. Just let it go. And I know this from experience, folks. This isn't just me just talking out of my butt. The more things I tried to make right, the worse it became. So, I'm not telling you have to do this, but sometimes it's better just to just let the whole thing go. Keep doing what you're doing. If you enjoy doing YouTube videos on whatever topic, but it's probably better to keep like personal things out of your YouTube videos. And I see a lot of that on YouTube. Not all of it is YouTubers against each other. Sometimes it's people, just whatever platform they're using. They get caught up in all this stuff about what people are, what people look like. What are they drinking? Are they doing drugs when they're on streams and doing videos and stuff like that, making fun of their home life, making fun of somebody's appearance? And I've talked about this before. That seems to be a lucrative thing and a way for unfortunately, for people to make money on YouTube and other social media platforms. But that don't make it right, folks. That, there's a lot of ways that you can make money, but that don't mean all of them are good ways to make money. Power and privacy. Yeah. Which is why I'm not being totally explicit about my own situations, because I think that a lot of that has been talked to death in a public arena, and I'm just tired of it. But what I'm trying to do with these things is to be positive. I may tell you a little bit of negative, but then we need to give a positive spin on these things, folks, so that they don't continue to get worse and they don't continue to fester until they become some massive infection that's taken over. So I think you guys and gals in here understand what I mean by don't play the blame game. Just don't get caught up in saying, well, if so-and-so didn't do this, then I wouldn't have done this. That ultimately is what I mean by don't play the blame game. Don't blame others for things that you do. Because here's the fact of the matter. Folks, nobody is threatening you and making you do these things. That is your choice. If you want to, put out a horrid video or a horrid live stream about somebody else, I don't care who it is, just because you have it set in your mind that somebody did something terrible to you. That's not I'm just saying that's not the proper way to react. And, I learned that for myself, that it's best not to even make a video, not to do a live stream, not to do anything, no matter how angry you are, because there's always going to be somebody that is going to play the blame game back. And it might end up worse than what you did. So it just recycles itself over and over and over again until, I hate to sound gross, but it becomes a big pus-filled ball of anger and blame between groups of people, between one person and another person, between one person and two people, or one person and four people, or 100 people, you know. And, you know, there's enough hatred in the world, there's enough anger and resentment and blame in the world. We just don't need to add to it, folks. And that was the ultimate goal of this chapter of my path to becoming a positive renegade. And again, I could go on and on about it a million times over, but I don't really see the need to do that. And Kits and I have talked about that. Kit says when she does her stuff, that she tries not to just overdo it talking about it. So I've been on here around 36 minutes all told. But I hope that you guys and gals in here were able to glean some little tidbits that you can use in your own life. And that's what I want. That's what I want. That at least one person can take something away from these My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade episodes that I've been doing. It's not to make people more angry. It's to help everybody, including myself, right? And so I want to thank Tom and Kits and Tasteful and Gory Tiger and Stacy and Hope. I don't want to miss anybody. I noticed the poet wasn't in here tonight, and I missed the poet because the poet's usually in all these, but the poet may have been busy. Thank you, Tom, for saying you're all very talented people. I'm sure everybody in here appreciates that. But I want to thank all of you that were in the chat, kept me company during this episode of My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade. Hopefully I'll be able to have another one of these the next Sunday. Oh, you were watching the poet? Hey, buddy. I thought maybe you were busy, or dare I say, I thought maybe, so many people have been ill lately. I was, maybe concerned that you had been ill. Kit says, no problem. We should talk sometime. I'd love to have you on my panel to pick your moody brain. Yeah, I mean, just let me know, hopefully I could do that at some point. But the poet, I thank you for watching, and anybody else that either didn't feel comfortable getting in the chat, or you were on a device, you're using a device where you were unable to chat, because I know some people watch these on their television or whatever, and they're not necessarily able to chat. So if you were just watching along, I thank you as well. And for those of you that will watch this on the replay, I appreciate you guys and gals as well. And as always, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another. That's especially important during these streams as well. And blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Sunday night, folks. And hopefully you have a very good week upcoming. And I hope many of you guys and gals are able to join me for some of the streams that I've got upcoming this week, as well as the watch along for Saturday for Misery, folks. And I'm out of here for now. But I will see everybody next time.
I wanna be a positive renegade, making changes for the better, throwing out old rules and creating a new landscape. changes for